Good morning, everyone. It is time for Coffee Talk with On the Edge Events. Today, we are going to be going over my top 7 secrets for negotiating a good contract with your hotel. If you're holding a conference or a retreat and you're working with a hotel, the contracts are very specific. And so what we want to do is give you some advice and some tips for negotiating those hotel contracts. And at the end of this video, we're going to have a very special offer for you. So Alice won't be joining me today. I do have a bit of a cold, so excuse me if my voice breaks or something comes out a little slower. Alice is actually driving to Pennsylvania today, but we are super excited about this promotion. We can't wait to meet with all of you and talk to you about it. So let's get into it. Live events, you're holding one, you want to work with a hotel. How do you do that? How do you approach that situation? What's going to help you in the negotiation process? So my number one tip for any kind of live event is to create an RFP, and that is a request for proposal. Now, you've probably seen these. If you've done an event before, you might have your very own template. That's great. If you're just starting out or you've always just had booked for your own hotels, haven't really used an event coordinator or someone who knows how it goes with the hotels, you might just fill out the form, the RFP that they give you on the website. And that's great. That's the best way to reach a lot of hotels, but you really want to have your own template, your own RFP, so that you can be stating what concessions you want and what things that you want to get from your contract with your hotel. So having your own is very important. And we're going to be offering something at the end, and I think you'll be really excited about it. So if you don't have your own RFP, do not worry. Step number 2 is to know your negotiables. What things are you willing to negotiate on? Is that the dates? Are your dates flexible? Are you looking at a certain month but not necessarily specific days? That's great. That's something you can use as a negotiating tool. Are your room counts flexible? Do you think that you might be able to block more rooms than you originally thought? Are you flexible on what you spend on food and beverage? Knowing what you can negotiate on and where you're standing is a great tool to use. Let's say you have a food and beverage minimum, you're going to spend at least $20,000 on food and beverage. Start out by committing to 10, and then you have that room to negotiate. Number 3, know your non-negotiables. If you're not willing to change your date, you should have that right in there. Your date is not flexible. If you can't really afford to increase your food budget, you should know that that's not acceptable. If you need to have a certain number of rooms comped and you know that you're booking a certain number of rooms, but you really count on those comped room ratios to account for speakers and guests that you want to upgrade, then that's a non-negotiable for you. Knowing what those are is going to really help you with your contract. Number 4, run the numbers. Make sure you have a spreadsheet. Go through what it'll really cost. When you have a food and beverage minimum, that is before tax and service. Make sure you have a spreadsheet at home that you can calculate. What is that tax and service? What is the food and beverage actually going to cost you if you commit to that amount? How much are your rooms going to be? If you don't fulfill all of your room requirement, let's say you committed to 300 nights and you only are able to get 200 nights, how much is that actually going to cost you? And what kind of attrition or leeway is the hotel giving you to help accommodate with those costs? All of that needs to be figured out beforehand so that you can anticipate what hotel is going to give you the best deal and that fits your needs. Number 5, what is going to set that property apart? So when you get into the final stages of negotiation, you've got 2 or 3 hotels that you're working with. What can the hotel do to really set them apart? Is your group a group that is just not going to be able to function without Wi-Fi in the meeting room? Then you want to negotiate Wi-Fi in the meeting room for your group. Like I said before, comp rooms, if they comp a few more rooms, is that going to help you to maybe house some speakers, take from your budget? Is AV super important to you? Maybe you're just starting out and you want to use the hotel's AV company, but you don't really have a large budget. Discounts on AV can be a really big help. Is the quality of the food a non-negotiable for you? Find out which hotel has the best food. Maybe schedule a site visit and try some of their food. So knowing what things would kind of sweeten the deal for you is a great way to get through those final negotiation phases. Your timeline. So number 6, know your timeline. Know when you want to make a decision by and backtrack from there. So the more time you have to find a venue, the better. But I would say you want to at least give yourself a couple months to find the perfect venue for your event. And especially if you're not using a professional to kind of speed along the process for you, because you really want to be looking wide at first. You want to have 2-3 cities that you're willing to go to. Where is your audience? Where are they going to travel to? What's going to get you the most people into your event? Where can that be? Then spread out, narrow it down. What hotels are going to be great in that area, in those areas. Now you send your RFP out to those areas. Okay, what hotels are your top contenders? You want to keep narrowing down until you've got 2 or 3 hotels in one city or one location that you're working with, and then you're going to finalize your contract and your negotiation. So number 7, final tip, knowing what your decision date is. So number 6 was your timeline. That's all based on number 7, your decision date. So when do you want to decide, when do you want that contract signed and locked into a hotel? It's really important to know this. And there are certain things that you can, if you know in the industry, you can align your decision date with that. So end of the year, this time of year right now is a great time. If you're planning for 2020, you want to really, or even 2021 in the beginning of the year, you really want to be looking at that contract now. You want to be finding your venue now. You know, hotels have a little more flexibility at the end of the year. It helps them to meet certain deadlines and quotas that they want to fulfill. They also work on a quarterly basis, a lot of them. So if you're familiar with the quarters, you know when those are coming up, you can kind of base your decision date on those, and you really will find that you'll get a lot more room with negotiation that way. So that brings us to our offer. Because it is the end of the year and we know that we really want to get some of these venues selected by January 1st, before January 1st, we want to get the contract signed. It's going to give us more flexibility. Alice and I are offering with On the Edge events a contract review. And so what that is, basically, you know how some tax offices offer a free second look. If you've held an event before, you have a hotel contract that you've worked with, we want you to go ahead and send us your hotel contract. We'll look it over, we'll schedule a consultation with you, and we will go over all the points in your contract. We'll let you know if we think that you could have asked for more, if we think that you've got a great contract. It's going to be, it really is a great tool to use to know that you're just in the right direction moving forward. So I'm going to post our email address in the comments. You can send us your contracts. We'll review them. We'll schedule an appointment with you. Let us know whether your availability is better in mornings or evenings and what days of the week are best for you in that email that you send the contract over in. And we'll make sure to schedule something as soon as possible. And that way, if you decide that you want to work with us moving forward, we can go ahead and search for a venue before the end of the year. So send us your contracts, everyone. This is a really good decision to make. At the end of our consultation with you, even if you don't end up working with us, we're going to give you all the information of where you should negotiate your contracts differently in the future. And we're also going to send you a template of our own RFP that we use for events. You know, every event is different. Every client needs something different, but we do have an RFP that we use as a basis, things that we always ask for with every contract, and see if that's something the hotel can work with. So I'll post the email in the comments. Thank you so much for jumping on today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and I hope to talk to you soon.